What's up, guys? Welcome back to another guitar video. So, I got this guitar recently from the local pawn shop, and I figured it needs a full once over, change strings, clean it up, make sure everything's set right. So I figured I'd do a video to show what you could expect to do or have to do on a guitar you get from the pawn shop. Well, anywho, right here we have a 2018 Schecter Sun Valley Super Shredder 3. In Skyburst, I think it's called. Has the EMG retroactive HSS set, HSS set, uh, Hot 77 bridge. I'm not quite sure what single coils they are until I unstring it and, take the pickups out and check. Anywho, Floyd Rose 1500 series, basically the 1000, but has the stainless steel bits put in, and a push-in arm. I still have to get the actual arm for it, but I did sort of a test fit with a regular Floyd Rose arm. It fits. I don't do it too much because I don't want to scratch the top of this up, but do this a little bit. Feels perfect. You ain't gotta sit there screwing anything in. Just pop in, pop out, good to go. So, if depending on how much I like this type of hookup, I might end up putting that on all my guitars because it seems to be damn good. Anywho, we're gonna see about setting this thing up, seeing what all it needs. Definitely needs new strings. Ugh. Anywho, let's get started. Huh. Plus one on things to look out for. I just took the lock nuts off the nut and the A string was popped. Go figure. Yeah. Before I go further, here's a little tip for you whenever you're restringing or setting up a guitar with a floating Floyd Rose. What you do, this is a screw-in arm. This fits in there kind of loosely, but it'll get the job done for what I gotta do right here. So you don't undo the strings and the bridge falls in the body. Take you a tone block left over from a past project and you dip the bar, put the tone block under the intonation screws, not the intonation screws, the saddle screws, the lock screws for the saddles. You do that number. Can't do it all with two hands, or can I? Ah! Damn it. Well, do it this way. Shit. Boom. It kind of dips a little forward, but it's better than dipping in, because whenever you're doing the string locks, you don't want to dent the body too much, because then it looks kind of crappy. But anywho, yeah, that helps out a lot. Better yet, what I'm gonna do, since I'm gonna be doing a whole once over setup of this guitar, I'm gonna go ahead and flip it over, take the tremolo spring cavity off, undo the springs, and just take the bridge completely out, cut the strings, and go from there. Make it a lot easier, plus I'm gonna already be taking most of this guitar, the main parts apart, just to, go over everything, make sure everything's kosher as a dill pickle. Well, got the bridge out. Just snip the strings right before the saddle. Flipped it over. Undid the springs. I didn't undo the screws. Just, popped the springs off and unhooked them and shit and pulled the bridge out. And, yeah, also found out that they do the same thing as Jackson's. They leave this wood right here to where you can't remove the bar from the back of the guitar if need be without removing the bridge. That's great. Anywho, now I will be opening the control cavity up. Actually, the back of this thing doesn't look bad. Has a little bit of, buckle rash or whatever. It's not bad though. Well, I got the cavity off. All is good to go, honestly. It's came from EMGs from the factory, so you already know it's all soldered in there. So one thing I definitely want to do in the future is replace all this with solderless stuff. I already have all the wiring, the jack, has the battery compartment already in there. But still gotta get a 3-way switch offline. But yeah, until I do that, it looks like it should be good to go. It's very clean. I just don't like dealing with soldered stuff. One, I'm not too good at soldering. Two, if everything is solderless, if something goes wrong, all I gotta do is get the new part, unplug, install, replug. I ain't gotta wait for the soldering iron to heat up and I did the soldering bad and I gotta undo it, redo it, or I burned something and it cooks it and I gotta replace the whole part again. It just removes a bunch of factors. So some call it lazy, some call it just personal preference. Anywho, let's go ahead and put the playback on there. Flip it around. Probably give it a nice wipe down everywhere. And yeah, restring it, see how it goes. Well, I took the neck pickup out. If you can see in there, come on. EMG Maverick F-Spaced. So the neck is a Maverick. I'm gonna go ahead and take the middle one out. I'm almost certain it's a Maverick too, but let's, take it out just to be sure. Well, got the middle. And no surprise, it is also a F-Spaced Maverick. Well, got the bridge pickup out. It's definitely a Hot 77. Weirdly enough, I didn't know these were made in Indonesia. Oh well, if it works, it works. Shit, I don't care. Anywho, it's retroactive. I guess the C stands for ceramic magnet. I don't know. First time having any of these retroactive pickups. So let's put it back together and see how it goes. Here's a little tip whenever cutting almost all the strings off and leaving little bits in there. Little bits of the strings, should I say. When you're going to unlock the saddles, watch out or just clip it farther away because yeah, I stuck the fuck out of myself. Anywho, another thing to watch out for is cleaning up these things. The guitars, after you get them from the pawn shop, chances are they will be gunky all over. Then again, that's more or less any used guitar that's been put up for a while and not used. So, a good way to do that is just take an old paintbrush you're not using anymore and just dust it out. Well, I got the bridge cleaned up. All it takes is a little brush, just go over everywhere while blowing air on it, get all the dust out, and Yeah, one thing I will definitely change in the future is put a bigger brass block. I don't know. It is brass. Well, I'll see how it goes. If it goes good, if it resonates good like that, I'm gonna leave it like that. But I don't know. I'm very accustomed to putting the big ones on there. Big chunky ones. Yeah. It's not bad. It's like what, $25 for a 37 mil. Anywho, I'll see how it goes. I'm gonna keep using the brush wherever it went to. You know, just getting the dust out of the crevices and shit. I'm not gonna actually do it right now because, you know, gotta have one hand to record and gotta have, you know. Anywho, I'm gonna go over everywhere and just keep dusting it off. And it continues. After I got everything, you know, dusted off, I forgot they still had that little piece of string from that popped A string. So I went to take it off and notice this whole tuner is loose, if you can see that. This one is a little bit, a little. This one's a good bit. This one's a good bit. It ain't much to tighten these up, but make sure they're nice and tight when you go to use them. Not over tight, just snugged up. Because the more you keep using it with loose parts, it's gonna wear them out sooner. Anywho, another thing to look out for, which I'll have to cover in a Floyd Rose specific video, is make sure this lock nut is seated all the way and not shifting at all. If you ever wonder why when you use the bar and all the strings will go about a quarter step low or a quarter step high, and you use the bar back, it knocks it back into place. It had 9 times out of 10 it has nothing to do with those bridge posts. People blame the bridge posts and the knife edges for too much shit. Normally, if all the strings go out of tune at the same, almost the same rate, and then you use the bar again and it goes back how it was before, it's the nut. The nut shifts. One way to test that is you use the bar, you know, up and down. You flick the strings between the tuners and the nut. It'll do like that high chimey ring noise. You flick the strings, you hear tring. Use the bar. If these strings between the nut and the tuners change pitch at all, the nut is not seated all the way. Because the string area between the nut and the tuners should not move. That's the whole point of a locking system. If these move at all, the strings, if they move in pitch at all, these screws need to be tightened. And if they're tightened all the way but keep coming out, you gotta put a little more wood, like a sliver of a toothpick or something in there to make the screw grab more. Little tip for you. So yeah, what I did was I just went to the back of the guitar and just tightened down these screws. Every one of them needed between a quarter turn and a half turn before they was nice and snug. Now these actually were fine. You know, you're not supposed to tighten that down or else it might screw up your finish on your headstock. But they're in place. So just had to tighten the screws in the back. These 2 screws, the nut mounting screws, had like just a smidge to tighten down. Don't go too tight because then you will strip out the holes and have to put a bunch of toothpicks and some wood glue or just dowel it up. But it seems good for now. I'll know more after I have it strung up. Well, the headstock is good. I'm going to go ahead and wipe this down. You know, kind of clean the fretboard up a little bit. And after that, it should be good to go. I got pretty much everything else seen about. Yeah. See, I don't know how good you can tell. but I got up to the 13th fret. This what it looked like before. Gunk is not the word. It's a layer of shit. But that's what it's looking like so far. I think after I do or whenever I go to do the big brass block upgrade, restring it, at that time I might steel wool the frets. Well, if it needs it. I still gotta actually string it up and see what else it needs after that. But yeah, it's one of the things you gotta do is get the fretboard gunk off, because I don't think you want anyone else's DNA on your guitar. Well, I got the fretboard cleaned. Not much, not steel wooled or nothing like that. Just, moistened a little bit, wiped down with a towel and dried. Now it does have from what it looks like, it'll focus, what might be a little bit of fretboard cracking, because it is an ebony fretboard from Indonesia in the late 2010s. Like, it's a 2018 guitar. But a lot of the solars, some of the Jacksons, some of the ESPs, I think too, they have some cracks in the ebony because they got not so good of a batch, I guess. I don't know. It looks like it might have started, but honestly, I don't care. Plays good. Does what it's supposed to. I've got to get some steel wool in there. Polish everything up nicely. But anywho, it's looking good. Now it's to just string it up and see what else it needs. Whew. Well, this guitar is complete for now. Got it all set up. My usual strings and tuning. Ernie's Balls 9 to 46 hybrid slinkies, tuned to E flat. Holy crap, this thing sounds good. Hot 77 sounds like, oof. Nice and thick, not too overpowering. These single coils, holy crap. They sound so good. On the clean channel of my amplifier, left it boosted. Like, I have a mid 2000s PV-XXL 100-watt head, and I boost it with a Ibanez tube screamer, and all my EQ knobs on the pedal is set at 12 o'clock. Max gain on the 2 overdrive channels, and the clean channel is set between the vintage and modern, I think, the last 2 ones on the bottom. I switched between those 2. Holy crap. Left it boosted with these 2. Sounds so freaking good. Holy crap, I'm sold. The pickup though, sounds great. I don't really have a preferred EMG bridge pickup. 81, 57, retroactive, Hot 77. They all sound great, and I do want to use more of them too. But holy crap, that sounds good. Plus, this push-in arm, I'm switching all my guitars to this. You ain't gotta, all you do, slide the arm in. You ain't gotta you ain't gotta screw the arm in. You ain't gotta put the arm in and screw the color down. Works so good. Oh my god. Anywho, this is what to expect with, getting a guitar from the pawn shop. Full cleaning, restring, setup, readjust everything to your personal preferences. If it has active electronics, replace the battery. This one came with a battery and I didn't need to replace it. So that's a plus. Make sure all the screws are tightened down. Make sure everything's straight. Yeah. As far as this particular guitar goes, holy crap, I am sold. The only things I will do to this thing in the future is get the actual bar for it. Dunlop dual design strap locks. Replace all the internal wiring with solderless EMG stuff. And on the bridge, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not sure, 100% sure yet, but I might go ahead and put the 37 millimeter big brass block on it. Yeah. Also, whenever you do the EMG solderless stuff, don't forget the switch. Anywho, thanks for checking another video out. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see y'all later. Peace.